Welcome, everybody, to another edition of Southern Wrestling Hot Topics and News. It's me, Cowboy Cliff Rogers, back for another week. Yes, and right here we have the man of the hour, the guest of the week, good friend of mine, a training buddy, Mr. Austin Andrews. The amazing.
Hello, everybody.
Man, thank you for finally coming in and joining us, man. It's been kind of hard getting you on this thing.
Yeah, I've been sitting at home recuperating,
Well, I noticed that you had a little bit of an injury. The injury bug finally got a hold of you here. Was it been like 2 weeks now, a week?
About 2.5 weeks, about 3.
Man, yeah. Well, folks, for those that have never heard of Austin Andrews, definitely look him up. If you haven't already looked up UWE, United Wrestling Entertainment, that's the place where we were both trained at. We're both based out of Louisiana as wrestlers. Of course, we also like to travel the state and work for, travel the states and work for all these other great companies that Southern Wrestling HTN was created to showcase. We've been to Texas together. We've been to Arkansas together. I know that me personally, I've been to I've been to Mississippi where I picked up a little gold here. I'm the current Battle Zone heavyweight champion over there at Battle Zone Championship Wrestling in Mendenhall. So look those guys up. The longest running independent promotion in Mississippi state history. So, it's always cool when the belt has a little prestige on it, So, yeah, definitely proud to be part of that line of champions there. Been some good ones, been some forgettable ones, but, I'm trying to be an unforgettable one. That's all you can strive to do. Drew, man, you've been more places than just the Gulf Coast, man. You've been up north a little bit as well.
No, not yet. I was supposed to go up north, but I had to cancel some things out, due to me having my appendix removed.
Yeah, you see, that's always just such a pain in the rear end surgery there because there's so many things that could go wrong there. Didn't it bust a little bit?
No, it didn't bust. What happened was it turned in on itself.
Ooh.
And it was kind of wrapped up right there in my intestines. So yeah, I was in a lot of pain. About 12 o'clock in the morning Sunday. I thought maybe it'd go away. It didn't. It got worse through the day. So I went to the hospital and they told me I had appendicitis and emergency surgery the next day.
Well, look, man, our viewers, they've been keeping up with all these companies that we like to spotlight on, and your name has probably come up with the viewers, I think, more times than anyone else. And in fact, I know while you were at home recovering, you were watching the podcast episodes, and
Yes, I was.
you're like, Cowboy, I mentioned probably, I think I'm counting here, more times than anyone else. Why haven't I been on the show yet? And I'm like, that's a good idea. Why haven't you been on the show yet? So, man, look, I know a lot about you because, we trained together and we've been road buddies now for a long time. We've been running the roads in either my car, your wife's car, whatever car we can find. Tell everybody kind of your story, man. Tell them how you got started.
Let's see. My story starts at the age of being a young baby, I would say. My dad really had an influence on me watching wrestling. Growing up as a kid, had me pointing out Sting probably by the age of 2. So, yeah, I grew up like everybody else, probably yourself, anybody watching at home, a fan. All through school, I always said I was going to be a wrestler. And, when you say that kind of thing, your family looks at you.
Like, excuse me, boy, what'd you just say?
Your friends look at you like, yeah, I don't know about that. But I stayed with it, and I was like, yeah, one day I'm going to be a wrestler. And, you get told, nah, that'll never happen. But if you stay with it and stick with it and do your best and get out there and try to find it, you'll get there.
That's true, man. Yeah, that was the same for me. I didn't discover I wanted to be one till I don't think 13. So, a little later than the typical childhood story. I was 13 in 7th grade, and I was a big boxing fan. I like watching combat sports. And then Floyd Money Mayweather was going to challenge the Big Show on Raw.
I remember
and I'm
that.
like, I got to tune in and see what Floyd's doing. Is he going to be a wrestler now? What's going on? And then I just wanted to see him wrestle. And then I was hooked right there. And then I also learned that's how Vinnie Mac gets you, because they made it sound like it was going to go down that night.
Nah, it happened at a WrestleMania.
You had to wait like 3 or 4 weeks for the big $60 pay-per-view. Because, yeah, believe it or not, kids, there used to not be a one-stop shop on Peacock. You had to beg mom and dad to buy that thing from DirecTV for $60. And if you didn't have the DVR, it was a one-time deal. It was a one-shot cannon, and it sucked.
Right. $60, and you get to watch it for 24 hours, and it goes away.
Yeah. Well, really, they gave you the replay, because I remember I would buy it, and if it fell on like a holiday, like if it was during spring break of high school, me and my buddy would stay up and we would watch the redo of it, and then it would go away, because by then it's the next day, it's clicked over. So
yeah, I don't know if you know this or not either, but if you missed Raw, it would play on Saturdays, early USA.
The AM Raws, yeah, AM Raw was awesome, dude. I used to watch that, but it was like a clip together.
Yep.
It was like a best of thing,
Basically like a highlight reel of the show.
which now for me these days, I still love the WWE, but I have to watch on YouTube a lot of time. Just look up the highlights. It makes it so much easier these days, man. You just hop on your phone while you're at work or something, and then you just type in Raw highlights and then see what happened, and then just kind of watch the segments you care to watch, because not everybody's into everything there. But anyway, you decided you were going to be a wrestler as a kid. How did we go about attaining that? About what age did you start actually making some traction there?
I would still say young. Me and my brothers would get in the living room together and beat each other up and just do wrestling moves on the couches, and probably destroyed a lot of furniture. And as the years went on, we moved outside to the trampoline and did a lot of crazy stuff out there. And then it wasn't until around pre-COVID that me and my dad and brothers got out there, and we actually built a wrestling ring. And I know what a lot of you are thinking. Oh, he's one of those backyard guys. Well, that's kind of where I started, but that's not where the journey starts for me. The journey started when I came to a tryout for UWE, and I think 2022, I believe.
Yeah, it was 22 because I started in 21. Yeah. Might have been 22. I don't know. We've taken a lot of bumps, dude. We bumped a lot.
And, it was the night that X won the title. I remember that against Punk Sinister.
Okay. Yeah. One of them nights. Yeah, because they bounced that thing back and forth a few times. The light heavyweight title, a title that you held
for 440 days.
See, look, he's got the exact number. He's got the count.
The longest reigning. The longest reigning.
There's the self-promotion there. No, man, that's something to be proud of. It really is. Folks, there's a lot of good. There's a lot of indie activity going on, not just in the South. I know we're Southern wrestling, hot topics new, but there's indie activity going on these days, just booming all over the nation. So I feel like we got in at a great time to do it.
Yeah, definitely.
But UWE, we've said before on the show, United Wrestling Entertainment, it was, not a very big pond here in Louisiana. I've said in past episodes.
But we're getting there now.
Yeah. Well, the pond's getting bigger, and that's good or bad. It depends on how you look at it. But there was only like 11 indies in Louisiana. A lot of them barely run, and then a lot of them are down south. And South Louisiana's kind of its own world.
It feels like it's hard to get in there too.
Yeah,
it's hard
exactly.
to get in there too.
It's its own world. You had Luke Hawks at Wildcat, and then in the north part of the state, in the Monroe area, you had Josh Newell, and we've done an article in the first issue of the magazine about BIW, and it's almost 20-year history. So that's really rich in history. But BIW is one of those places where they don't just bring anybody in because they've got so much success. They don't want to risk anything.
That's right.
So when Danny Davis, Dapper Dan, started UWE, it was a big opportunity because he was looking to train new people and build his own talent and grow his own. So it was a big opportunity, but man, we took off fast. I mean, UWE's going on 4 years old now, and I mean the crowds are there, the community attention is there. So
Man, our fan base is like no other. We have packed some houses.
yes,
And
yes, me
especially
and you
right
packed
down
the
here
house.
in Alexandria. We've packed out over 1,000 people before. It's crazy to be this young in the game and to say I've had a house of 1,000 people before, and the adrenaline that you get when you walk out there and you see all those people it's wild.
Dude, pulse pounder for sure. Speaking of, we're going to plug this real quick. Coming up December 13th, if you're going to be anywhere in the central Louisiana area, maybe coming in to visit family early for Christmas or something, December 13th, Alexandria, come to UWE Christmas Chaos. We're going to have some really good matches on that card. Guys, we're talking Dapper Dan, the founder, the legend, Danny Davis, is going to be in action. X Storms is the current UWE heavyweight champion. He's putting the belt on the line. We're going to have the gatekeeper, my partner. We don't team together at UWE anymore because he decided he was going to go be light heavyweight champion. I know that's, yeah. Okay.
That's a tough one. That's a tough one.
Yeah. We'll get to that in a minute. But he's going to be putting his belt on the line. And man, just we always show up, show out. It's going to be at the Alexandria Convention Center on North MacArthur Drive, and going to be a nice little cash bar in there for the adults because it's actually being run by. The convention center is actually run by this really nice, classy hotel. So they handle all the catering and stuff, and they offered to help make the show bigger, and they were like, "Look, what if we put a cash bar in there?" So, it's going to be a not expensive, but it's going to feel very schwanky a little bit, so it's going to be a really nice, it's not going to be your old high school gym wrestling show. Not that there's anything wrong with that. It's going to be a really elegant event, so, and some great action. So December 13th, Friday night, UWE Christmas Chaos in Alexandria, Louisiana. Come see us.
I may or may not be there. We'll see.
Yeah, that's the thing. You're still recovering, bud. You were actually
Yeah. Plan on getting back in the gym next week to start training again. Trying to get some bumps in there and stuff.
you were number one contender for X's title. Kind of flesh out that rivalry for us here. You and X were partners, and then you weren't. Tell the fans that might be following
Let's
y'all
see.
what happened there.
Man, I don't even know where to start with this. My debut, I guess. I challenged X for the light heavyweight title. The night I debuted, I wound up losing that match. But if that's where it starts, I believe that's where it starts, Then it turned out we've had some matches in different states. So really our rivalry is just stretched beyond UWE. We've went in different promotions, beating each other up. And then, we decided, hey, I'm tired of beating you up. You're tired of beating me up. Why don't we team up and beat everybody else up? And we did that for a while. And we were really hot on the Arkansas scene. And came back to UWE. Decided we were going to try to take over UWE together.
I remember that.
And X stabbed me in the back in Gina when I was challenging Eddie Love for the heavyweight title.
And he hit you with that Mr. Fuji baby powder finish.
Yep, that's right. And
Man, I remember that night as well. In fact, I think I might have, I was there when they came up with that finish. That was crazy. But, man, you guys' matches from the first day was just incredible. They were incredible because, guys, Drew says he came in and tried out. I want to back up just a little bit. I remember on your tryout day, we were, the boys were setting the ring up. We had somebody coming in wanting to give it a shot. So typically, what we do at UWE is and this goes for anybody that might be in the Louisiana area and wants to come to the December 13th Christmas show. If you're seriously interested, man, all you got to do is get there early. Get there about noon that day. The doors typically open at 5:30, so come in about lunch. And by then the ring's up, and we'll give you a little tryout. You just run the ropes, take a bump, see if it's something you can handle, see if it's something you'd want to keep doing, because everybody wants to do it till they bump, and then if you're in and Dapper Dan approves, well then you get signed up for class. So he comes in and tries out, and I mean, running the ropes, had it. The bump was beautiful, the front bump, which is normally a tricky thing to learn.
Yeah, let me hop in here real quick. You see, Jake Fury at the time, was with us. He actually said front bump, and in my mind, I heard front flip. So I did a front flip and took a bump with it, and he's like, "Okay, that was great, but I need you to do a front bump." I was like, "I got you." And I did that, and Coach was standing right there. I didn't even realize it, and he pulled me to the side in front of everybody. He's like, "Are you sure you've never done this anywhere before?"
It's like, I smell a rat here. Who sent you here? Who do you work for?
And I was like, "No one. I just did this a little bit in my backyard, you know."
And I always try to detour backyard wrestling because it's a great way to get hurt, and a lot of times it's
Don't
just,
try this at home.
yes, a lot of times it's just like amateur hour at the comedy club. It can run down the business. I think if you really respect the business, you go get trained, and you're one of those very, very rare moments where a backyarder actually kind of knew what he was doing. So he came through school and just whizzed right by it,
Yeah,
You just had it.
Matter of fact, UWE's fastest graduate. I didn't even know I was graduating.
Yeah, he graduated with me, and I did the whole 4 months. I kind of wanted, I was like, what gives with that? But I think you didn't get a discount, though. So
No, I didn't get a discount.
Yeah.
But we had graduation night, and I was there celebrating with them because they were graduating, and it turned out that I was graduating too. I had a diploma, and the guys knew about it, and they didn't tell me.
I'm sure all the other great schools in the South, like Booker T, ROW, you've got the guys over there in Texas, like at Premier Wrestling Federation, they have Justin Bulldog Walker
Yep.
as their trainer, and then in Mississippi at Battle Zone, you've got the Pharaoh of Funk, who actually trains people, or his brothers train them now, and they tend to try to do a little graduation battle royal. I mean, I know at Flatbacks Academy in Florida, which is Sean Spears and Tyler Bate. We've actually wrestled one of their students,
Yes, we
DJ.
have DJ Hall.
DJ Hall.
Shout out DJ.
Yeah, look him up. He just got back in the business from a little break.
Yeah, he's coming back from injury.
Oh yeah, like you. They do like a little battle royal for their students. Well, so our version of your rite of passage is we would go to the wrestling school, invite friends and family only. We'd do a couple matches to showcase what all we learned, and then in typical Louisiana fashion, we'd fry fish and drink beer and hang out and turn it into like a tailgate, basically. So.
And there's the story again because my graduation match was against X Storms.
Look at there. So when you did your first real show for us, at the time, X was the hottest thing on the market because he was or an arm market anyway, because he was the light heavyweight champion. He was getting over left and right. And then here comes this guy with a leather jacket on and a custom-made T-shirt with his name on it, like a mark. And he comes in there, and you challenged him. And, man, I'll never forget that. The crowd in Gina that night was crickets because they were just like, who is this guy?
Hold on now. They were crickets until I opened my mouth.
That's what I'm saying. You did what a lot of young starting out wrestlers can't do. I know that it was hard for me to learn it, but you got to give them something to cheer, make them believe, and so they're not going to care just because another wrestler, woo. No, like
I
you
tell
got
you what, that Gina fan base it's hard to get them there.
You got to earn it in Gina. You've got to earn it in Gina. That's just how it goes. But you did, man. You earned it, and you grabbed the microphone. You were actually doing a little talk show segment. It was Punk Sinister, another one of our guys. He had the Punk's Playhouse segment where, he doesn't do the comedy thing anymore, but at the time.
And I crashed it. At the time I was the bad guy.
He was the goofy dude at the time. So the bad guy comes in, grabs the microphone, flips the little kindergarten plastic table, and you do your thing on the mic, and it was great. It was great. You set up y'all had match of the night, and I'm trying to remember who I was working that night, man. I think it was me and Groovy King, Eddie Love. I think that was one of our matches.
So
And me and Groovy do some good stuff, but but y'all went first, and not first on the card, but before us. And when I saw y'all, I'm like, man, they got it. Crap. It's kind of, I said this with Jordan Jensen in the last episode. It's like when you're watching the boys from the back, you get that competitiveness because, it's wrestling. We all know how it goes, but at the same time, it's like, I bet you we can outdo them. I mean, they did good, but we can outdo them. Come on, let's go outdo them. There was no outdoing that.
and that right there, when you have that in the back, the fans, man, they get their money's worth. Because if you go out there and you put on a show, and you're like, oh man, that was just the opening match, and then the next match, boom, that was better than the first one.
So you and X actually opened a show in Fifth Ward one time.
Yes, we did.
And y'all,
and that was the first time we were in Fifth Ward too, and we sold that place out.
Sold it to the rafters, dude, standing room only. And I remember I actually had to go do some work before the show, like some real life job work, outside of this awesome job of wrestling. So I come in during y'all's match. I pull the truck up like there's nowhere to freaking park, which is a good thing. So it's like it's stressing me out because I'm like, how am I going to get in the building? How am I going to get in the building? But I'm also like, oh my God, we killed it. Look at all these people here. So I'm running through the grass with my gear bag, and I go banging on the back door. I'm having to call somebody. I think it's Eddie Love. I'm like, come open the freaking door. So they come open the back. I'm sneaking in so nobody can see me in my street clothes and stuff. And I look and I see y'all. And you did something off the top rope. You did like a power slam or
a superplex.
Yeah, superplex. I walked in during the superplex, and I'm like, oh, you guys, really? Superplex on the first match?
So, hey, sometimes it gets there,
Dude, it was incredible. That whole night was good. I got a win that night as well, and then the main event of that show was a casket match. So we set the bar pretty high in Fifth Ward, and UWE is looking to go back to Fifth Ward February 2025. We will have something set for that. We'll keep you posted.
And that for sure, I will be there.
Yes. Drew will be fully recovered after that. But, man, let's see. So it didn't take long for you and X to kind of start tearing a path through different companies. Like, I know y'all did some Arkansas work. I think didn't
Arkansas, Texas.
Yeah, I think it was ACW.
ACW. North Texas Wrestling, NTW. Let's see, what was that place called? New Hope. Yeah, New Hope is really where, and
rest in peace.
New Hope. Yeah, SCW.
Oh, yeah, okay.
We was up there, too, and Punk Sinister as well.
So you guys were really making a name for yourself as the two-man army.
That's right. We got, the name got out there. So back around the time when UWE rolled around again, we actually went up against the Desperados for Scotty. We did it for Scotty. That was a match that I believe Scotty had wanted to see, and I know he was looking down watching that match.
For those that don't know, Scotty was he's a fellow that lived in Fifth Ward, Louisiana, Marksville area, and man, you talk about super fan. That guy and his family, Clarissa, his wife, his kids, they would come to. The first one they ever came and saw us at was that first Fifth Ward show I told you about. And, man.
They followed us everywhere.
They didn't care what town. They were there sitting front row just getting loud. And then, man, they were like, and I know Scotty had to have been doing it for the bragging rights too, but he would invite us to his house all the time for like barbecues and kids' birthday parties. And it, so he could tell all his friends, like, I got a couple wrestlers coming over, it's no big deal. Yeah, I know them wrestlers really good, And that's what people back in, I felt like Hacksaw Jim Duggan or something, because back in the Mid-South days, the glory days of Mid-South, when they would come through Central Louisiana all the time, I still run into old timers and stuff that were like, "Oh man, me and Jim Duggan were cool, man. He used to come by all the time for ham sandwiches and stuff." So, or man, I remember running into Shawn Michaels when he was young and had short hair at the Ball Foods, you know. So that's how it had to have felt for Scotty. So we were, we became more, friends with him outside of and that's really special when you can find fans like that they just become part of your family of wrestling. And sadly, he passed away very unexpectedly. I believe it was a heart attack. Just very unexpectedly. So we last January we dedicated that show to him, and it was in his memory. And of course, we were all doing the Eddie Guerrero gimmick where we put the black tape with his name on there, and that meant a lot to his people. And also, so Scotty had always said, when are the Desperados, Cowboy Cliff and the Gatekeeper, are going to fight X Storms and Austin Andrews? I want to see this match. Make it happen. And we're like, well, Scotty, we're not bookers, but, I mean, we can try.
Yep.
And so we went to the booker, James Beard, the founder of this little operation we're doing here, legendary James Beard. And we told him and Dap, we're like, man, come on, we have to. And they were like, I don't see a reason why not. So we put it together, and, man, still to this day, one of my favorite matches.
Man, that right there was a match. And then again, there's a story of me and X because he turned on me.
Yeah, he did. And actually the picture I used for you for the promo of this episode.
Yeah, you can see I'm wearing the band right there with Scotty's name on it.
It was barn burner of a match. I'm in there hitting moves, taking double teams. I bring in the Gatekeeper. He's bow, 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 Terry funking on you guys, just, throwing in the Texas strong style. And then, you double up on him. I come back in, and then we're just about to seal the deal. And then your partner X slides out the ring. He grabs the UWE heavyweight belt, cracks me in the back of the head. I believe. Yeah, it was me. He cracks. Yeah, I got hit so hard I can't remember. And then you're like, whoa.
Yeah, we don't win like that.
We don't win like that.
What he was thinking.
What's he do? Yeah, we do. Bam! I don't need you either. Cracks you.
Back of the head with the title.
Here comes the Honorable James Beard. He runs down there, throws the match out. It was a draw. And I remember we had the standoff, the face-off after that. And, man, I will never forget the tension in there. And then they set the match right there, Iron Man match, title for title. Because at the time, you were the UWE light heavyweight champion.
That's right.
And X was the heavyweight champion. Those desperate losers over there, we didn't have any belts yet. We both actually have belts now, so how the turns table. But anyway, I could feel the tension. They set the Iron Man match, and sadly, guys, indie wrestling is indie wrestling. It's not like the WWE and stuff. It's hard to plan storylines when everyone has a second job. We're all striving to get to the point where we can do this full time. And those indie vets out there, I know y'all know what I'm talking about if you're listening to this. If you're an indie wrestler that you've made it to where this is your only job, you get double booked all the time. And then, you got to have a little time for your family. So it's really hard to plan storylines when you're not contracted in, not locked in the contract. So that match never happened. I believe it was supposed to happen at the brewery in Ellick at the Huckleberry Brewery show. And X was obligated to go somewhere else at the time. He was booked at Loco Wrestling in Houston.
Yep, Loco.
And you ended up just doing a triple threat against the Gatekeeper and Jack Strong.
Yep, Jack Strong.
And, it just never circled back around to happen. And then eventually you ended up losing that title to the Gatekeeper. And again,
due to outside interference by X Storms.
You see.
Also, he doesn't know that I know this, but I seen you out there as well, Aquila Wolf.
Oh.
See, Aquila Wolf handed Gatekeeper the flask.
Yes, Aquila Wolf, one of our newer guys at UWE. He just got on social media. He's only had about 11 matches, and that kid there can go for somebody that's so young into it. He actually got the stamp of approval from a WWE superstar right now. Yes, we can say it. Raquel Rodriguez, her dad, Ricky Gonzalez, was Dapper Dan's tag partner. We've mentioned this before. She came in and trained with us, and that right there was an honor. That was cool.
that was pretty cool.
And man, that girl can work, son. And she didn't even get blown up, and it was unfair because I think we trained for like 3 hours, and we're like,
Man,
"How are you not tired?" Like,
She beat all of us to a pulp.
dude, she did, and we loved it. Like, yes, ma'am, do it again. But she wrestled him, the Aquila Wolf, and she was like, "Wow, for a young guy that's only done a few matches, you got it." So that right there is a. So anyway, the light heavyweight match, the gatekeeper. I try to reel him in, but I wasn't there to reel him in, so he hit you with the tribute to the great Muda, the whiskey miss. You take a little swig from the flask, and and then of course that wouldn't have happened though had X Storms not come out and interfered in that match. So we can't shift all the blame to the gatekeeper. Yeah, he's a despicable human
With all
being.
due respect, gatekeeper, you did what you had to do. Anybody in that position would have done that, I believe.
Oh, I mean, I'll say it. He's my tag partner. I can say it. He's a despicable human being, but we win matches together. So there you go. I mean, that's what cowboys do, right? But man, look, there was nothing to really be ashamed of, though, because like you said, you held that belt for over 400 days, and you had fans believing in you, investing, wanting to see. It's up to the wrestler to make the belt. The belt doesn't make the wrestler. I mean, eventually the belt will make the wrestler, I think. Depends on what belt it is. If it's something like the NWA World's Heavyweight Championship or, the WWE Intercontinental Championship, yeah, that's got so much prestige and class on it. Yes, it will make. But in the indies, especially a new indie, something like UWE that hadn't been around that long, the belt doesn't have much history on it yet. So it's up to you to give that belt some, and you did that. You had
I believe I did that. And, I've always said the belt doesn't make you. You make the belt. And I stayed with that since day one when I had that thing. And, man, I would love to get my hands back on it, Yeah, that's how much that title meant to me. But
You never know.
there's a bigger picture out there I think I'm focused on right now.
You ended up becoming number one contender, though, by default, I believe. And what happened was that same night, I got to brag on me a little bit, I had a non-title match. This was back in July.
Which was going great. The match was great.
This was back at Summer Tsunami. Look it up on YouTube, UWE Summer Tsunami. I had a great match with X Storm. Me and him have always put on just firehouse matches, man. Just like you and him, me and him can get in there and just seamlessly just do some excellent spots, not even really thinking about it. It just happens because we've trained together for so long. That's just the synergy there. Great match. And then he decides to go find a ball-peen hammer. He's about to get dirty because, champion, well, actually it was non-title, so what's he got to lose? Nothing at all.
His
So
pride.
yeah, let's just crack this dude in the head. He's a cowboy. He's probably been kicked by a horse before. He can take it. He gets ready to do it. Here you come. I appreciate it. You saved my knock. You tried to anyway. He ended up hitting me with a hammer anyway.
Yeah, and I was trying to walk away, and I turned around, and I see him hitting you with the hammer, and I roll in the ring, and we get into a brawl.
So let it be known, I rolled up the champion, and I have a win over the heavyweight champion. And then since then, I went and got my own heavyweight championship, so it must not have been a fluke, right?
No, I say not.
But anyways, I remember that brawl, man. That thing was crazy. It was wild. Everybody comes pouring from the locker room. Even I tried to get involved, but I'm about half concussed, so it wasn't really working out for me. But man, you guys really reignited from that time he turned on you and the Iron Man match was made, and it never came to fruition. That same later on that summer, you reignited the spark, and we got ready, and then the stage was set. We all knew it was going to be Austin Andrews versus X Storms for that heavyweight championship, and then life started lifing, and now here you are. So December 13th is right around the corner. Doesn't look like you're going to be medically cleared for that. He's going to defend against somebody I don't know.
I'll tell you who I would like it to be.
Well,
This man
I
right here.
appreciate
This
that.
man right
I
here.
appreciate that. And I actually do have a pin on him. I have a win on him. So,
There's also I'm gonna stick another pin in there. If you also watched after the show, you seen me and Cowboy had a stare down with the title. So maybe there's something there.
look, I'll say this. Wrestling can ruin a lot of friendships, but man, I would love to have a one-on-one. We've never had a
We
one-on-one.
were supposed to.
Yeah, we were. Yeah, I
know,
was going to
You know
challenge
how
for his.
cards go.
I was going to challenge for his light heavyweight belt, but then I guess the promoter looked at me and said, "No, you're way too fat for that." I don't know what happened there, but I ended up wrestling Aquila Wolf on that show instead of taking, and he did a triple instead. But what's going to end up happening though is if that match happens, and if I've managed because X, like him or hate him, he's had that belt a long time. He's a
Yeah,
good
yeah.
competitor. But if I get that belt off of him, I would love to just test to see where I am, and go one-on-one with the amazing Austin Andrews. And I'm telling you,
But
that's
if
going to be
that
standing room only when we do that.
If that happens, I'm not coming straight back into the title picture. I'm gonna work my way back up.
That's respectable. That's honorable. That's the cowboy way, we say. And then there's with that's going to come some extra workload because then I'll be a double champ. Who knows? You might make your way over there to Pharaoh Funk's territory in Battle Zone. Maybe we'll go one-on-one for this bad boy right here.
I'll say this: when I do come back, things are gonna be different because this time I'm coming back to make a statement, to get my name out there more, and to show everybody what Austin Andrews brings to the table.
Man, I have no doubt you're going to deliver on that. And I do want to, reiterate to you here, it's nothing really to be ashamed of here because, I've just last week the guest was Jordan Jensen, and he's awesome wrestler. We actually got to work with him in that battle royal that time in Hurricane.
Hurricane Pro.
I'm sure you watched the episode where he almost called you Chris Austin,
I did.
and I had to fix that.
That's all right. That's all right.
He, we got to talking about you and everything, and he's going through the same thing, different body part, same story. He's got a broke leg, so when it happens, it happens. I tweaked my knee one time, and I still have to wear a knee brace. The knee's about 80% better, but you can't rush those things. So that's just the game. That's just the game we play, man. So yeah, I have no doubt you're going to be fine. It's not the end of the world. It's probably not going to be the last injury. You just don't want to be one of those super injury prone guys, but that happens too. I mean, Batista almost lost his spot in Evolution because he stayed hurt so long. So you never know. You never know. But man, I wanted to dive a little bit more into you for the viewers here. Who's some of your biggest in-ring inspirations? Who's some of the people that you tried to model Austin Andrews after?
I know there's a lot of people out there that are gonna look at me and see the way that I dress and everything, but I mean, I can't help it. AJ Styles, number
Yes.
one.
I remember y'all went to a WWE house show one time, and one of the other guys was there, and he's yelling at AJ, pointing at you, going, "This is your son! This is your son!" And if you look at the gear and some of the moves, yeah, I mean, there's a very clear thing of AJ there. To me, my favorite was always Shawn Michaels, and I'm just a stocky dude that's trying to cut some fat off here, but I'm just not as God-given athletic as Shawn. But the things that Shawn brought to the table that I can pick up on, I try to. So I've always tried to maybe model myself a little bit after Shawn Michaels, and then of course all the great cowboys of the past. You had Stan Hansen, Father Stan, as we like to call him.
Cowboy Bob Orton.
Bob Orton, yes, and then of course Terry Gordy. Even though he wasn't a straight up cowboy, I always enjoyed watching Bam Bam Gordy. So I like to lend myself to the older school of it. But man, I've also seen some of your technical work is just off the chain there. How did you learn how to shoot wrestle? Because I know where you went to high school, I know where you're from, and I know they didn't have wrestling.
No, they didn't. They didn't have any of that. I'd say I got that from my dad. My dad used to just wrestle and beat us up all the time, and you either took it or you got better. So I would just
There's not any domestic abuse going
no
on
no
here, folks.
Just a lot of wrestling, you know. But nah, I just grew up in a small town of Winsboro. You know, I carry that name everywhere I go. Try to make it mean something one day. Um, but nah, I think my technical background came from watching a lot of the old WWF at the time, WCW. You know, I'd watch a lot of Bret Hart. I'd watch a lot of Shawn Michaels, Eddie Guerrero. Um, and I think I just picked up on everything one by one, and I would try to add that into my arsenal. And you know how it goes. Sometimes you're just born with it, and I guess that's me.
You can just feel it sometime, it just feels natural. I've had Pharaoh Funk at Battlezone. He's told me before in the back, he was like, he goes, I kind of feel like me and you were both just kind of born to do this because our brains just are always geared to that. I was like, I've always felt that too because even as a college kid and then, working on the ranch and stuff, and then even before that, I always brought everything back to wrestling. Like
Everything
I
comes back to
always
wrestling.
always looked at myself as like, if I were to get the chance to wrestle, man, I would probably love to use this move because when I pick things up and move them at work, I feel like that would be my strong suit. And then, it gets to the point where you just feel like a crazy person living a delusion. You're like, it's never going to happen. And then lo and behold, when UWE showed up in our neck of the woods, we were like, oh, it's now or never. Pull the
Yeah,
trigger.
that's right.
So I
I
feel
never
like
thought it would happen for me until UWE opened its doors and I seen it.
it's like we had
Timing.
been, in a way, training our whole lives.
Yeah, I watch wrestling religiously, like old, new, doesn't matter. It's just wrestling. I study a lot, so I just get better. Try to get better.
As I've gotten older, I like to appreciate true 5-star mat classics instead of just, as a kid, it was, the gimmick matches were my favorite. Who don't love a good, hardcore extreme
Yeah,
rules or a
Jeff Hardy jumping
cage?
off the ladder.
I know it wasn't that very well received in the 90s and stuff, but I always loved the WCW triple cage. Tower of Doom, like I loved stupid stuff like that. The Elimination Chamber, But now as I've gotten older, man, like just a few weeks ago at Crown Jewel, I thoroughly enjoyed Cody and Gunther
Yeah,
because
yeah.
that was just good work.
I tell you another match. If you want to see some great technical work, or in my opinion, a great 5-star match, which Kurt Angle versus Shawn Michaels at WrestleMania.
Yes, that was.
That was a match.
They actually did a few, and it was just two guys that couldn't miss, and of course they both had some ego on them, and sometimes that makes for great matches. Like bringing it back to the Indies, you and X.
Yeah.
Both had a big chip on your shoulder, and you're trying to outdo each other, trying to get a bigger response from the crowd than the next guy. And the only people that, or well, there's got to be a winner and loser, but the people that really win there is the fans, because they're seeing a barn burner right there, and your professionalism isn't going to allow you to mess something up. So, like, you see him going for a move, and you're like, oh, this guy thinks he's so cool. But you're not going to interfere because you don't want to ruin the flow of the match. So, same with Kurt and Sean, man. Kurt and Eddie, they had some
Oh
good
yeah.
matches. Man, they had some good stuff going on. Man, I'll tell you, last night, of course, this is pre-taped, but last night would have been the 23rd, November 23rd, at Warrior Wrestling Alliance. I wrestled a guy named Joe Garcia, the Saucy. Look, let me tell you, I had never worked with Joe. I'd met him once, and man, the guy's in killer shape. Little Mexican dude, and he's ripped, and kind of does like an X-Men thing with his tights, and then he's got the Wolverine colors and all. Real cocky, arrogant, almost like a Latino Heat thing going on there. And so they were thinking, yeah, this ought to be good. Let's take Cliff Rogers, the Cowboy. Let's take the Sauce, whatever that means, and let's put them together and see what happens. And man, we had what you call a locker room sellout. So the crowd was digging it, but from what I heard after, everybody in the locker room, from refs, wrestlers, promoters, they were all huddled around the curtain and watching the backstage monitor, trying to see what was going on in there. I mean,
You know what? I've had one of those too. I'm gonna peel back the curtain a little bit. It was right after mine and Gatekeeper's match for the light heavyweight title. I go back there and everybody just standing around the monitor
yeah,
and was like, "Wow, that
was
was a match."
I was one of them. I was one of them. I was sitting there going, "All right, y'all did that, y'all." And then me and X, we knew, okay, the bar set high. So I feel like last night me and Joe Garcia did that. We set the bar really high. I want to give a shout out to another UWE original, the Barker of the Bazaar, Ricka Wildley. Let's give him some applause here. Ricka won the Innovative Championship at Warrior Wrestling Alliance last night, and they had what you call a funhouse match. And that was basically, oh God, I've never heard. I mean, this sounds like some Vince Russo.
It was very innovative.
Yes, yes, it was. That's actually the gimmick behind that title is it has to be defended in a stipulation match. You can't just do a one-on-one. So
It's a great match, by the way. I've already seen it.
yeah, already, man, that's a quick turnaround on that one. That's because Rick has always got somebody planted in the crowd filming for him. Yeah, he's a producer's worst nightmare because while you're working on the actual tape, he'll just have it on Instagram. But Brady Brown is the general manager of WWA, and him and his son went to Walmart and just started buying random stuff, just everything they could find. They were just buying the most random things, and then they gift wrapped all of it. So the guys had no clue what was in these boxes, and it's like you open a gift, you're hoping for like a kendo stick or something, but you might get like a fly swatter. You know, that like Ricka took a bump on some pine cones. Ouch. There was light tubes. We got a little Nick Gagey with it. Got a little CZW flavor in there with the light tube. And my Lord, guys, if you've never seen a light tube in
Jack
person,
Lovecraft's back was
yes.
insane.
Jack Lovecraft was the opponent. He's a little unhinged, a little crazy, and I think he might have liked it.
Yeah, it looked like it.
It looked like he enjoyed it. But being a cowboy, I got to go get a cold beer after a great match. And plus, I got the win, so I had something to celebrate. So after a really great, hard-fought victory over Joe Garcia, which I do want to say, I don't think that's over. I would like to do a trilogy with him, because I beat him, but I want to see if I can beat him again. I want to see if we can maybe do a best of 3 or something. I walk over there we're in the VFW hall, so I walk over to the bar, and I grab a cold beer, and I turn around and look, and I hear like a shotgun going off, and I was like, "Is that the light tube?" Like you've seen it on YouTube, you've seen it. They did one in AEW with Chris Jericho and Nick Gage a few years ago, but when you see one in person at an actual show, that's when you realize just how loud those things are, man. So that was a hellacious match. Ricka walked away with the win on that.
The win and the title.
And the title. So he is your new innovative champion over there in Lufkin, Texas. And guys, go back and watch some of our past episodes where we did a really great interview. Me and Manu interviewed Derek Chancellor, the founder and owner of WWA, and a great company to follow. And they do a lot for the veterans, veterans of the armed forces, not wrestling veterans. So,
Tell you what, I want to jump in here real quick and say this. I would put UWE, the promotion and the talent, I would put that against anybody out there, because if you look at the talent that we have in UWE, I don't care if I can't stand them, if we ain't got nothing going on with each other. Our talent is above everyone else. I mean, look right here. Look right here. Cowboy Cliff Rogers, Punk Sinister, Devontae Adams, Ricka Wildley, Gatekeeper. I mean, these guys are going out there grabbing titles left and right from different states.
and it's guys don't really understand. As an indie fan, before I got into the business, you think like, oh, it's cool. I mean, he's a little belt collector. That's cool. But then when you actually get one and you learn that, that company is trusting you to carry it. And then, I got to brag on Battlezone real quick because, like I say, this is 20-something years of history. It's 22 years of history. in Mississippi, and they've booked some names before. They've brought in Rodney Mack. They've brought in Jake the Snake Roberts before. They've brought in Dr. Tom Pritchard's come in there before. All kinds of ex superstars from the WWE and stuff have filtered their way in there. Man, they've had some barn burners. They've had their low times, and they've crawled right back up and got back on the mountaintop. So to be the champion of something that's been around 20-something years, again, it's up to the wrestler to make the belt. So, high bar has been set because it's a long time that the belt's been around. And then especially when you're an out-of-state guy, not just talking about me, but just like when you're an out-of-state guy for anywhere, they're really investing in you now because they're letting you take that thing home with you. They're really trusting you to carry this thing, and you're not even a local guy that's invested that as deep as some of the others because you're not from there. So yeah, it's a big deal to capture an out-of-state title on the Indies, and very proud of all my boys from the UWE that love them or hate them. Some of them I can't stand, but you know what? They're doing the dadgum thing. They're out there doing it. So and that's what indie wrestling's all about, man. Getting out there and making people care about you. They're not going to care about you unless you make them care. That's how that works. So tell us something, man. You got to do a first in UWE, and that was you were in our first ever triple threat match. That's actually how you won that light heavyweight belt. It was vacant.
Yeah.
And it was you, Gatekeeper, and a guy that's going to be making his way back here hopefully soon. He had to take a big hiatus, but JT Hanley.
The hand grenade.
The hand grenade. Man, did you expect that you were going to be branded as the triple threat guy after that? Because I think you've done more
I've done a lot of them.
You've done more triple threats than anyone else.
A lot of them.
And I think it's off of that one. So it's like, did you expect to be like, hey, this is your match now?
I'll tell you what, I'll take it because it's not 101 for me. It's basically 102 out there. I got to fight two opponents, So I'll take that. I'll take that.
Man, so now with all the buzz going on in the world of wrestling with this new WWE ID thing, you gonna give that a shot? You gonna put the hat in the ring there?
The only thing for sure about Austin Andrews is nothing is for sure.
Oh God, Mr. Cryptic over here.
That's right. I mean, I can't give him everything.
You are always the most dramatic person.
Give him everything.
He is guys. I've traveled the states with this guy. He is so dramatic.
We got a lot of road stories that we can't tell on here.
There's a few we can't tell you. Man, I remember one time at WWA, we were at the VFW hall again, and me and Gatekeeper actually did a tag team match. There was it was a 3-way dance, 2-on-2-on-2,
which was a crazy match.
Oh man, it was chaotic. But one of the teams we faced are the current tag champions over there, the Bad Boys.
Bad Boys of Wrestling.
Rodzilla and Denzel the Dream. Look those guys up if you haven't already. They're great talents, man. Well, anyways, great match with great people. So we go and have a few drinks at the bar. We're not driving. And then on the way home, this guy decides, hey, let's go to an IHOP. And we are on pins and needles in this IHOP because, no, we're not belligerent, but we're just like, dude, there's families in here. Like, we are way too messed up to be in here. And you're just like baiting us the whole time. Like, you're trying to get us to crack. You're trying to get us to laugh because we're going to be too loud. We're talking loud. And I'm like, why did you bring us to a family restaurant, dude? And you're like, why, man? It's all good. We're going to be fine.
Well, I mean, we have a tradition. After the show, we usually go to a Waffle House.
And there wasn't one.
There was no Waffle House, so we went to IHOP.
So we had to go to the classier Waffle House where people actually bring their kids.
Yeah.
And I'm like, what have you done? What have you done? I remember one time you really ribbed the crap out of me, man. It was, again, it was WWA. Another, we've actually become regulars over there. And we're coming back. Ricka Wildley's riding with me. We're stopped at a red light. And it's like this long, bridge going over this big body of water, and we're just stopped. And this red light lasts for what feels like 10 minutes. So I put the car in park. We've been here so long. I turn around, I'm talking to Rick. Yeah, man, my match was great. Tell me about your match. And then this dude decides it'd be funny to park his car, get out, walk up to my window, and dude, oh my God, I had to fumigate. I had to fumigate the truck after that. I had to fumigate because look, I'm just telling you, you are lucky I didn't have enough time to draw the sidearm there, or I would have had to call your wife and be like, hey,
No, I'm made of steel.
Austin's dead. you know, so yeah, sometimes he ribs so hard that he puts his life in danger, but that's just how much he loves a good rib there. So that's what makes the memories there, I guess. Even though it's at my expense.
I mean, it was pretty funny to me.
It was pretty funny to me, yeah. Of course. Well, look, man, I think with the WWE ID now being a thing, of course we can still have fun, rib, and make these road stories, but I feel like it's made everybody step their game up big time.
Yeah, yeah.
I've been trying to bulk
I feel like
it up.
you gotta watch it too, because there's a lot of them out there that I've noticed are not with the WWE ID, and they're just posting that.
Yeah. And we had to expect that. You had to expect that. Guys are going to they're going to get mad, they're going to get jealous, or they're going to kind of get in their own little world, their own little fantasy land, and think they deserve it. So maybe if I just speak it into existence. But, it's actually not that hard to do. You go to their website, go to WWE.com, and you fill out the form, and then you wait for approval. You got to have a reference and all that. I'm definitely going to give it a shot. I want to wait till I have all the right tapes, all the right match footage. You only want to show them your best. And that's kind of where I get in my own head, because I've had some great matches, but I'm like, I don't know, man. Like I wasn't very big on that one. I'm bigger now. I don't want them to think I'm still little, and things. So, but I'm definitely going to give it a shot. I think you should too, because all you can do is try. All the news tell you no, right? But it's just like when I joined the UWE and became a wrestler for the first time. It was a thing of I thought I was a little too old. I was 26. And I was like, you know what? I'm going to hate myself at 36.
Yeah, yeah.
So I feel like, I'm 29 now. If I don't do this now, I'm going to hate myself at 35 or 34, or, because, and then you see everybody else getting accepted and you're like, well, why not me? So yeah, I think it's lit a fire under everybody. And it's never been easier to have a connection to the WWE now. So yeah, I'm really, really, again, getting back to what we said earlier, we got in at the right time.
Definitely. I mean, if you look at it, it was right after COVID. A lot of things got shut down. So once everything started kicking back up, you've seen a lot of indie promotions really just start going and coming out everywhere. So I believe we did get in at the right time, because now we're going everywhere, doing everything that we always dreamed about. So yeah.
It's like what Jordan Jensen said in the last show. He said, in Texas where they don't have a commission and anybody can run, he says it's always the joke every tax season of all right, who's going to buy a ring, who's going to buy a belt, and who's going to try to run a show, and then it's going to be done by March. Come March, they're going to be out of gas. So, man, Drew, we've worked for some great promotions, some places that I'm very lucky to be part of. And then we've worked for some places that were,
Yeah, we'll just keep that down there.
I remember, we got to tell this story. Our first time, I'm not going to say the guy's name. I don't want to, embarrass him too much. But this one promoter called us up, and we were I think I was maybe 7 months in, 8, 9 months in. You were a baby.
Yeah, man. I was fresh in.
You were super fresh. You'd only had one match in front of, not counting the backyard stuff. You had one match aside from your graduation show too. And he was like, yeah, I need some guys. And so we went out there, and it was in someone's yard. Now, he told us it was at a flea market. I'm like, all right.
Yeah, hey, we were expecting outside on the parking lot.
People run that, TASW, Texas All-Star Wrestling. fantastic promotion. They do. I hate to use the word flea market, but there's like this big trader area. It's kind of like a giant swap meet, like an outdoor mall kind of thing. They set their ring up there and run there, and it's free to the public, and they get big crowds. So there's no shame in that.
There's nothing wrong with that either.
Well, this wasn't a true flea market. This was a flea market run out of someone's home. It was a at-home business. And we get there. There's a ring. It's a little rickety. There's an RV shed with someone's RV in it. And the guy says, all right, heels, y'all go get dressed at the RV shed. Baby faces, there's your locker room. It was
Dressed in a tent, right?
was
And the fans are right there.
The fans are right there.
Which I did not get dressed in that tent. I actually went on down the hill.
We all just kind of told the guy. We didn't say anything. We're just like, yeah, I don't care. Heels, babies. We're gonna fight anyway. We're all going to that RV shed. I'm not dropping trowel in a tent. The only thing, I mean, they could see right through it too.
I mean, and they were standing right there.
Yeah, and I think there's like 12, 15, maybe 15 people there, and it was bring your own chair. So people sitting in lawn chairs.
And the card that night was crazy because there was actually 2 boxing matches. On that card. I don't even know if I'd call them boxing matches. They just one of them seemed kind of staged.
Yeah, kind of like another certain boxing match that just happened on Netflix.
Yeah. I actually watched that match, and I was very disappointed.
I was too, man. I hate it when the money, goes to the people's heads and they just spar for $20 million.
Yep.
That's what that felt like. But this was terrible. This was like, we're thinking we're going to see, like, some people kill each other. I'm like, let's go. So, like, the wrestlers, we're over here like, all right, guys, let's get it. We're watching, and, I mean, these fools couldn't fight. My Lord, they were, it was terrible.
I've taken harder licks in the ring.
God, I was thinking, like, man, I wish somebody could get a time machine, bring Harley Race to this thing, and just let him go in there and knock the crap out of them one good time.
And the ring that night was broken too.
It was broken. It was rickety. But we had some great matches out there.
Yeah.
In front of like a few people, and they were fun for us. But I remember on the way back, we go to a Waffle House as per tradition, and we're just like, yeah, I think we're all in agreement. We're never doing this again. But again, that's the gamble when you run when you're an indie wrestler in a non-commissioned state like Texas, and just anybody can run a show. My friend Chase Emery, he was been on the show. He says one of the Carolina, I think it's South Carolina, doesn't have a commission.
Oh yeah, speaking of, next year you can catch me there, South Carolina.
Okay, yeah. Hey, you might be on the card with Emery.
I don't know. I can't remember what it's called. It's something Pimento Wrestling or something.
Pimento Cheese Wrestling. Yeah, that's it. Man, you might be on the card with Emery because in the episode we did with him, he's the workhorse of that area. I mean, that man works 3-4 matches a weekend. He'll do a double shot and then drive to another state, do another 2 matches, drive back home. If somebody local right by his house is running, he'll gear back up and go do a 5th. And then he's a high school PE teacher, so then he'll go back and be Mr. Emery Monday through Friday. And I'm just like, my God. I said, brother, how do you do it? And I was like, be honest with me. Is there an Adderall prescription involved? And he's like, no, just, I like them Zoa energy drinks from The Rock. I'm like, well, what's in those things? I mean, so, yeah, it's a crazy life. But, yeah, like I say, we've lived some great promotions, and then we've been to some not-so-greats. But, I don't want to deter anybody getting in the business. You got to go through it. And then once you learn to watch out for it, you watch out for it. But you get your reps in. The more matches you get, the better shot you have.
And you never know who you'll meet out there. I mean, we met some great friends out there, We all went to the same promotion thinking, hey, this might be something. We'll get there, and it's not. But, I mean, you live and learn, and you meet some great friends along the way.
A guy that we met in another one of the crap hole promotions we've been to, again, like maybe 20 people there. We didn't know it was going to be like that. And we met a guy, a little short, stocky Mexican dude named Arthur Delgado. And he's been on an episode of this. And Arthur Dapper Dan took him in. Now he's a UWE regular. And, so sometimes you can elevate each other by like, hey, brother, you're way too good of a worker. Let's try to get you to where we work. And it's all about networking. I've met some great guys at WWA that I've had some killer matches with, and they're like, bro, let me talk to my promoter. Let me try to get you over here near Dallas, So it's not going to come to you. I've met some guys in the business that are egotistical, and they think it's just going to come to them. And they get so mad sitting at home not working, and they'll get on Facebook. That's the worst thing you can do is vent like a little schoolgirl on Facebook and just be like, man, the phone works both ways. I'm wasting all my talent. I'm like, well, where have you been? What have you done? So you got to get out there and make it happen. But you also got to be safe because, we all want a shot at the big three, AEW, TNA, or WWE, one of the big three, and you can't do that if you're hurt. So
That's right. But, I'm going to also add to this, one of my dreams, it would be great to make it to any of those, but I would absolutely love to be in Japan. New Japan Pro Wrestling. That's one of those ones for me.
I'd say this, outside of America, if you're just looking at a global scope, one of the best in the world.
Some great stuff outside of America.
I'd say that WWE is definitely one of the best in the world total, but NJPW is right there by them, man. They've got a lot of prestige, a lot of history. I know all you wrestling fans watching this have heard of them, but if you've never actually dug into it, look it up, man. I love watching the 90s NJPW stuff. Back when Jushin Liger and Great Muta were going at it. And
a lot of your wrestlers today have been there. I mean, Hogan, Kurt, Brock Lesnar, AJ Styles. It's a lot of them. The list goes on.
Dude, I tell you, a lot of people. This is a weird fact here that I didn't learn until way later. But Hogan was the first NJPW heavyweight champion. How crazy is that?
That is crazy.
That
American.
That was very rare. But that was back in the days of when it wasn't a belt like this that you carried around with you all the time. It was a once a year tournament, and he beat Inoki for it, and then eventually they made it a belt, and it was defended multiple times a year and stuff. But weird fact there. Hulkamania ran wild in
everywhere.
The Far East, and man, you'll see Hogan work in Japan.
I will say this: his work in Japan is much different than you see in WWE.
Yeah, you want to see Hogan do like an armbar takedown? You'll see it there, man. You want to see him, do shoot in, grab the leg, pick up, and then do some classical stuff. Yeah, he'll do it. I mean, because that's just what you got to do to get over there. Because they want to see a fight in Japan. Me personally, I would love to go there. Anywhere in Japan though would be good. If I could just have the honor of working somewhere in Japan for one tour, I
will say this. I'll throw this out there now. I have talked to Cowboy about it. We have an opportunity coming up in February that we might be able to get into Japan. So
yeah, we might. Yeah, you got to look for these tryouts. You got to look for and then do your research. Make sure it's not a cash grab on you. I remember there was one. I can't remember who it was for, but it was supposed to be this next big opportunity thing.
Yeah, we got screwed out of that one.
Yeah, we didn't. We
didn't go, but
we didn't go. And
we heard it was bad.
And we heard, oh man, there's gonna be scouts from everywhere. There's gonna be scouts from Japan, brother. All you need $65 down, plus your own room and board and all this. And I think like where was it? Was it? It was.
It was in New Jersey. Yeah.
Yeah. So
one of our wrestling friends had went ahead and went out there, and man, he said it was terrible, and there was really nobody there.
Like there were scouts, but what they didn't tell them was they were there to see certain people, and after those matches they left.
Yep.
So you got to be careful. Guys are going to say whatever they can to get you in the door and pay your money. Some guys, sadly enough, they're not even after the fans' money. They're after these hungry workers that are willing to do anything. Yeah, they'll take your money. So always pay attention to that kind of stuff. But then you have other opportunities like the WWE ID. That's legit. I mean, look who's doing that.
Yeah.
So and I love how
I have a feeling it's only going to get better because, if WWE's doing it, AEW down the road might do it.
Well,
TNA might do it. So I mean, there's a lot of opportunities out there for us.
Impact Wrestling has always been some TNA Impact was a big childhood fan favorite of mine. Man, the glory days. I know people are gonna disagree with me on this. It's all suggestive opinion, but my glory days of TNA was when you had the young babyface Samoa Joe, not
And the
babyface.
young AJ Styles.
I don't mean babyface as in like the good guy, but like clean shaven, very young babyfaced Samoa Joe fighting my man Booker T for the TNA World Championship.
And Sting reinvented his career there.
The Joker Sting. We saw Joker Sting. Yeah, that was as a young fan that had was kind of got into all of wrestling because I didn't watch it as a little kid, so I had no idea who Sting was, and they were calling him the icon, the legend. I'm like, this guy's awesome. And then, of course, the early days of YouTube, I start looking up his WCW stuff. I'm like, oh, this cat's been around a minute,
And the great Perk Angle
Perk Angle.
was born in TNA.
When he did not care about his body, yours, or anyone else's. He was doing flips off the stage. Oh, yeah. Man, so that was, 2007, 2006, 2008, TNA. And you had the Main Event Mafia coming through, Wrecking Shop. You had Big Papa Pump, Scott Steiner. Man, just so much going on there. And then, of course, it wasn't perfect, just like with any company. They had things that didn't go anywhere. They had that beautiful Legends title that I think had 4 different names. It was the TV title, then it was the King of the Mountain title, so some things fell flat. But you had Christian when he left WWE, he was Christian Cage. So if I could...
You had the Hardy Boys.
The Hardys, yeah. So if I could get into some TNA in my career, I would love that because it's TNA again. It's not Impact Wrestling anymore. It's TNA. I wasn't at the show, but I tell you just how small a world it is, man. Right over in Beaumont, Texas, for Hurricane Pro Wrestling. One of the big stars of today's TNA, Steve Macklin. Yep. He actually got some of his early reps, some of his indie reps in at Hurricane. So he comes back and does their shows. Tessa Blanchard, when she was holding belts for him, she came in. So Jordan Grace, I believe, is coming there too. Mm-hmm. So, the good thing about those TNA guys and some of those AEW guys and stuff is they have different contracts to where they can still work the indies if they have the time and want to go pick up a little extra money and just maybe knock some rust off to get ready for a big pay-per-view or something. So you never know who you're going to see. As a fan, you don't know who you're going to see at those things. You look at the poster and you're like, oh, is that Steve Macklin?
And the guys in the locker room half the time don't even know.
Dude, yeah, you can sit there. And so I didn't get to go meet Steve because I wasn't on that show, but I know X-Storms and them went, and I was like, oh, man, screw you guys, man. So, the Indies it's such a beautiful, chaotic monster. You never know where it's going to take you. But at the end of the day, I'd love to go to Japan. I'd love to go to TNA. I'd love to do all these things. But getting to connect with an audience, win championships, make friends, that's something a lot of people haven't gotten to do. And you're still getting a win.
And what matters to me a lot is seeing a lot of our fans out there that are special. In a way, you know what I'm talking about. That right there means a lot to me. It was after my title match with Gatekeeper, I got to meet a couple of them. And, man, that right there, that's a feeling like no other. I mean, you have your fans that are crazy for you, but it's nothing like sitting down and being able to make those guys' days. So that means a lot to me as well.
Man, and sometimes when I'm the heel and the kids want an autograph, I'll be like, come here. You can't tell the kids no, man. You just can't do that. The kids, the mentally disabled and all that, veterans, those are the people that have a big soft spot in my heart. I mean, that's why I love WWA, because they do things for these old veterans of the armed forces and stuff at the VFW Hall. And, man, I always got to go out of my way and go shake their hands, tell them thank you for your service.
Look,
and are you enjoying the show? Are we giving you a good night? Oh, absolutely, brother. and you sit there and have a beer with them after you match, and just give them a little something extra. It's the least we can do.
And as a baby face, your main goal is to make a connection with the audience. And I will say this, if you get the kids, you got everybody.
That's it, man. The kids believe, unlike anything else, the kids make it happen. So, yeah, I mean.
The kids get the parents. The parents come over to your table, That's how you sell merch.
That's where we start selling merch. Available now. Yeah. Find me on Pro Wrestling Tees, guys. Search Cowboy Cliff Rogers. Find him, too. Look for Austin Andrews, Pro Wrestling Tees. We got merch. All right, Drew. Well, look, tell everybody how they can find you. Socials. Give us the socials.
The Austin Andrews on Facebook. I'm also the Austin Andrews on TikTok. And that's about it. I don't have anything else.
And as for me, you can find Cowboy Cliff Rogers on Facebook, and then, of course, Cowboy Cliff Rogers on Instagram. I don't trust the Chinese government, so I'm not a TikTok guy yet. I might be watching the news too much. Who cares? And also, guys, when it comes to wanting to get trained, some good training schools, if you're in the area of Central Louisiana, United Wrestling Entertainment, UWE, Pro Wrestling. Dapper Dan.
I know that man a lot.
He is the head trainer of our Pro Wrestling Academy of Louisiana. Over in Mississippi, there's Battle Zone Championship Wrestling. They have some good work, some good training going on. That's in the Raleigh, Mississippi, Mendenhall area of Mississippi. And then over in Texas, there's Beaumont, Texas. There's Hurricane Pro. Over there in Houston, there's PWF, Premier Wrestling Federation, with Justin Bulldog Walker as the head trainer. AWOL. He's a guy I want to get on the show here real soon, but he's actually does a lot of backstage work and stuff. So those guys run a great promotion and a great training program there. So I just gave you 3 good hits of where to get trained. And then as for shows, yeah, they all run shows as well. Battle Zone's the place to go for Mississippi. Louisiana, you've got UWE in the central. You've got BIW in the north. Down south, you've got Wildcat in New Orleans. And then Texas is just full of it, man. Texas All-Star Wrestling. You've got Hurricane, like we said, Premier Wrestling, WWA, Warrior Wrestling Alliance. Check them out in the Lufkin area. But they bounce around a lot. They're not just a one-town down act. We've done Corrigan, we've done Carthage with them. So, yeah, guys, social media is key. Get on there, look it up, go support indie wrestling today. And also, support this magazine. You can buy it at Amazon. Go to the Amazon Kindle store. Look for Southern Wrestling, Hot Topics, and News. And big announcement, the hard copies are getting printed, baby. They will be ready here just in time for the UWE December 13th show. And then they will also be available to buy on Amazon, so you can order a hard copy of the magazine and have it. And I know a lot of people prefer a hard copy. I was thinking with the digital age, everybody would want to read it on their phone, but no, people want a hard copy. So the hard copies are coming soon, and the second issue will be available January 2025, our next quarterly issue. So, Drew, thanks for coming in, buddy.
Thank you for having me.
And keep recovering now. Don't be an idiot. Don't go trying that shooting star press with a partially ruptured.
Hey, that's all right.
Yeah, it'll be all right.
I'll get back in there nice and slow.
Oh, nice and slow. Yeah. Y'all have a good one.